DVA, Top Kitty Dallas is first hit by damaging ransomware attack. That's on DaVita, DVA.
Again, you can see the price action here. This is and we've been saying this for a long time. This is not tradable. This is just not tradable. There's just nothing here you can do. Your indicators are going flipping back and forth, back and forth. The price action is just up and down. There's nothing driving this market right now except news, and news negates technicals. So it's very difficult to trade technically when you have just news driving the market. And we just have to basically wait for this to start to settle down. It's likely to take a little bit of time. So we're just going to be very selective in what we do. That's all we can do. Okay, get some questions over here in the YouTube feed. Good morning, W1B. Lucille, seems like a choppy start to the market today. It's very choppy today. I mean, it's the price action obviously speaks for itself. This was a little bit of news that came out where the EU says the negotiations, they're not looking for any fast answers to the tariff situation with the negotiations going on. But other than that, the market's just choppy. Very, very choppy. Morning, QA. ALGM looks good, looks interesting. But to trade anything with SPY is chopping like news is pure LPTE. Yeah, it's LPTE. This is low probability trading environment right now. It just if you can find a really high probability trade, but there's just not a lot of them out there right now. Just not a lot of them out there. ALGM is a potential short. Yes, the ALGM is a potential short. Mallow, but you've got to get below the recent couple of lows. It's trading at 1947. You've got some decent support around $19. We need to break below there before I'd be interested in it on ALGM. This is it right here. Well, let me bring over the daily chart. There's the daily chart. ALGM right here. It needs to break below these levels right here. I haven't drawn any lines down there yet, but there is one right there. That's a high volume candle right there. There's just your support level. To be a decent short. I mean, you can trade it between now 1946 where it is now down to that line, but it's not very big. It's not a very big range. SPY absolute garbage here this morning. You see all this move up here, then you get one little piece of news. It wiped out all those candles. That whole move up was just destroyed in one 5-minute candle, and now we're just getting red and green mixed together, one after another. Please don't try to trade this stuff. If you see anything that looks really good, clue me in, because I can't find anything that looks decent. Yeah, that's good. That's good, Oliver. That's a very good idea. He's mentioning that in addition to the news-driven choppiness, which is what we've got, the news is driving the market right now. Technicals aren't even working that well because the news is driving the market. But it's also a shortened week. We've got Friday is a holiday. The high-low range is only 2.88%, he says, versus the rest of April weeks, which is 3.29. So you're not looking for huge moves, and SPY Super System will take the money and run. Yeah, I'm not even trying to trade the SPY Super System right now with this. I mean, this is just no follow through at all. SCVL looks okay to the downside, Roger. SCVL, let me look. Yeah, SCVL is not a bad one at all. It's a Shoe Carnival, retailer, apparel store, breaking down. Yeah, 1777, and it is below all the recent support levels. So yeah, that's a good one. I'll go see if I can find something further over here. Yeah, you got to go back a long way to find any kind of support on this. Got to go back to 2021. Yeah, that's SCVL is a decent short. I don't know what the options look like, but that is a decent short. Here it is right here. It's been coming down for a long time. Obviously, you can see the drop in this thing, but it chopped around here for a while, broke down, but it's breaking down right now. I wish this was a pink candle. This would tell me that the Bollinger Bands are expanding. We're breaking compression, but we have below yesterday's low, so that's a nice look. SCVL, a decent short. Nice look on that one, Roger. Very nice. Shine says, you know, it looks good. My all cash portfolio. Yeah, being cash right now is the place to be. But everybody wants to trade. I know. I mean, hell, I love trading. That's what I do. But I also know enough that I want to be able to trade, you know, tomorrow and in the future. And I don't want to go out there and just better off sitting on my hands for a day or a week or a month or whatever it takes, and not trade in places where I don't have any edge. You know, I mean, I might as well just be rolling dice somewhere in Las Vegas. I mean, there's just no edge here. This CBL just took a bounce. Yeah, this is a treacherous market, really is. That was a nice daily setup on that one. And again, bouncing. SPY with a little bit of a bounce here. Oh, 20 past 11. And market's not going anyplace. SPY's up 0.4%. Triple Q's up 0.6%. And IWM up 0.6%. Very flat, slow market. Volume not particularly exciting at all. Really low volume. Look at the volume we've had on the SPY here in the last couple of weeks. Anything white or blue is above average. Blue is way above average. Green is below average. You can see we had this big run up in volume here during this crazy tariff situation. As the market just kept gapping down and kept going lower and lower. then we take the tariffs, get paused, big huge jump up here in volume. Now the volume's coming down and the market's going sideways. We're basically not going any place right now. This will cut down the implied volatility. The implied volatility is going to start dropping on options here as the market just kind of churns sideways on low volume. So I mean, if you can find something good, that's a help, but really there's not too much you can do here. Bank of America gapped up on earnings, moving completely flat sideways right now. LU, a nice move up. Cheap company TMC gapped up, pulled back. Taiwan Semi. Apple's bringing in about $2 billion worth of iPhones from India to get into the U.S. before the tariffs go into effect. There'll be a lot of that right now. There'll be a lot of products coming in, people stocking up on inventory. Well, they can still get them at a relatively, they're afraid of it going back up to 100% again. So there'll be a lot of that going up. It's really putting the businesses in a tough spot because I mean they obviously if they're gonna buy that much inventory, they got to put out money, and it's tough for businesses when you can't plan. Buy with 2 green candles in a row. All right, looking to crowd CRWD. There's a long. Yep, just broke above resistance too. It's trading at 396, 393.29. Nice look on CRWD crowd. Crowd moving up nicely. Not particularly strong volume, but a nice little move in CRWD. I'll be pointing out it's got a Heikin candle reversal. Yeah, right here. It's actually a continuation, Heikin continuation candle, as we had some wicks and tails. Now we go into a flat bottom again. Pretty expensive, $390 and $396 a share. No earnings till June, however. Got room at, it's 396.02. It's got room to 404. Shy pointing out the crowd spreads are very wide. Very expensive stock, so usually the spreads are going to be pretty wide on something like that, and they probably are in this one as well. Trading right now at about 396, 395. Calls right now is 720 by 770 for this week. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. And they get 60 cents of intrinsic value in the 395s, but the options are going for 720, 760. So you're paying almost $7 for those the premium on those for extrinsic value and time decay or applied volatility. The 390s, which are $5 in the money at about $10, so very expensive. Even trying to do spreads on these things are expensive. You do a 395, 397.50. That's a $2.50 spread. It's $1.32. You know, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay that much for that. 250, 125 is 50% of it. It has to be less than that. So can't touch that. SPY coming back down again now. A couple of green candles. Now we're right back down for the view up again. This is just a LPTE, low probability trading environment. This is garbage. And please don't be trying to trade this stuff, especially trading the indexes. I mean, this is the indexes. This is a good way to just get to chop to bits here right now. One thing I took today was MSTU early this morning, trying to take advantage of that breakout in MSTR, which immediately failed, and right now it's still trading at 312.98, but it's not down enough for me to take the trade off. I paid $1.25 for the options there. It's going for $1 right now, and they're out to next week, so I'm going to give them a little bit of time and see if we get any kind of recovery in the crypto stocks. SBLK is coming in a little bit, down about almost 4% today. Back down. We're in the money again on the puts. Yeah, Roger, exactly. SBLK is starting to move lower. Very tough market. Very, very tough. I've been saying this in most of my videos and in the room every day that this is a brutally difficult trading environment. For swing trades, almost impossible. The market is being completely driven by news. Tariffs are overriding everything else. A lot of indecision in the market. Bond prices have been going up. That's putting a lot of pressure on the economics of the world. It's also going to put pressure on the United States. Bond prices need to come back down again. We had a bond price inversion, which means that the shorter term bonds, 5 and 10 years, were paying a higher interest rate than the 30 years. That's called an inversion, and it's not something you want to see. It's not good for credit.
Members on Visa, MA, MasterCard, Discover. U.S. judge vacates Consumer Financial Protection Bureau rule capping credit card late fees. Court records show. Commentary out by Citigroup CEO says that tariffs would damp economic activity.
See if we have any questions. This is a pretty brutal market right now.
Remember, seeing a little volume in that Visa, MA, MasterCard, Discover, DFS, Capital One, COF, following those commentary on the CFPB and capping credit card late fees.
Put 20 minutes at 12 here. As SBLK is coming down. SPY back below the VWAP again. Coming back toward the pivot point. Oh, just all chop here right now. Very, very choppy. Don't have much to say here. This is really a very, very slow market. Just really low probability trading environment. There's just no edge. We have no edge right now with the market going like this. I mean, there's a few stocks that look decent, but very, very weak. Sideways in ATMR. USAR, the one we traded yesterday, doing pretty nicely here today. Capped up this morning. It's right up against resistance. 1490 is resistance on this thing, so it's trying to break through it. MSTR, not doing much. All right, I'll be back in just a minute. MSTR moving back down again here. Again, 308 is support on MSTR. 308, 55. Okay, let's see. You've been eyeing crowd all day long. Very good volatility and relative strength. Yeah, it does. The options are brutal. I think sitting it out is better. I do. I'm not making any trades here. You know, weekly CDS, but even if you do a CDS on crowd, I looked at CDS as I look at a debit spread on CDS as a potential trade, and I couldn't find something that was cheap enough to take advantage of it. It's got to be well below 50% of the spread you take, and I can't find that on CDS on crowd right now. Mallow seems like a good time to find stocks relative weakness in the market on a D1 basis. Get ready to short them when the SPY confirms its time. Yeah, well, yeah, it's got to confirm when it's going to be time. We don't know what the SPY is going to do right now. I mean, it's had this wicked roller coaster after tariffs. We're still going to get tariff news. You've likely got to wait to get through most earnings seasons before you can really take swing shorts right now, because you know earnings can boost things. They can throw some indecision into the whole market. And right now the market's completely undecided. But this candle on today's SPY, I mean, if you look at the candle, this tells you the whole story. It's a doji right in the middle of this tight range, and yesterday still below the range of this last Wednesday's candle. You just can't trade it or stuff right now. Yeah, crowd looks good, ADMA looks good, USAR looks good, and again for day trades, but you can't. Very difficult to try to take these things overnight. There's MSTR coming down now. Crypto was strong this morning, now it's getting weak. Kyle, am I favoring short side on a short-term swing basis until we break last Wednesday's high? You know, you just have to try to find high probability short stocks that are short, and intraday trade them. I don't think you can even hold them overnight right now. There's just too much risk of news that'll bounce it against you. You look at it. Looking for a rejection of last Wednesday's high. In other words, staying inside of last Wednesday's candle, which I expected we would for a while. But again, you got earnings coming out. Right now that you've got earnings coming out, you've got Netflix on Thursday. There'll be more next week and the week after that. There'll be tons and tons of tech stocks that'll be reporting. They'll be issuing guidance or removing guidance. All of that's going to have a big impact on the market. Whoops, had my mic off. Sorry about that. Had some questions here about this crowd using a call debit spread on it, WMB. I looked at that they were too expensive. I couldn't find anything that was well less than half of the distance between the two strikes for doing CDS, so I didn't even touch it. Again, Mallow seems like a good time to find stocks relative weakness of the market on a D1 basis and get ready to short them when the SPY confirms its time. Yeah, I mean, you could look at it the other way too. You could look for good stocks with good D1s for long in case the market goes up. I don't expect it to. I'm expecting the market to be relatively weak going into the future, but I don't know. Again, I don't predict. I trade what I see. I think the economic conditions are weakening, but we'll see what the earnings season brings. And Kyle, what you're talking about is am I favoring the short side on a short-term swing basis? I'm not doing any kind of swings right now. If the SPY has got to get up and test the support level and then come back down. Using last Wednesday's high, that's one. 550.50 is another one. But we're a long way underneath 100. The market could bounce all the way up to the 100-day and 200-day moving average and then reverse. But I'm not going to make any decisions till I see it happen. Kyle, you haven't traded since last Wednesday? Yeah, that's smart. My number of trades I've taken is down so far right now compared to what I normally do. I have alert service. I've had hardly any alerts. I can't good conscience send out trades to folks when we don't have an edge. We trade high probability trade setups. If there's no high probability trade setups, I'm doing everybody a disservice by just trying to make trades. Again, our objective is not to make trades. Our objective is to make money. And sitting on your hands is the best plan right now. That you're not making money, but you're not losing money, which is the same as making money if you were going to jump into the market and take a loss. So that's what I'm doing. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Just keeps on chopping. The entertainment level over in the Discord room is pretty funny. They should be singing during these lulls. What is a man? What has he got? Just puts and calls. This is pretty funny. To trade his lots. Let the record show we took the blows. SPY traded sideways. Yeah, that's what we take. We take blows if we're trying to trade this market right now. I mean, it isn't really funny. I'm trying to keep people out of trading right now, and that's contrary to what I like to do. It's contrary to what people come into the room to do. It's contrary to what alert service is for. Is to find good trades and to make money. But if you're not able to find high probability trades, then the very best thing I can do is tell people not to trade right now. And I know that's not going to be popular, but I'm trying to do the very best job I can for everybody in the market, and keeping them out of trading right now, I believe is the best advice I can give. It has been for a while. You're right, Ryan. It's good to go through periods like this. It really reinforces the difference between high probability and low probability. And the biggest difference right now is because there is no market. There's no market direction to trade off of. Market is the most important thing that goes into high probability trades. And if you don't have those, you've got to find some really outstanding stocks to trade in, mostly for intraday. I mean, I've had a few swings here and there, and we had some good trades a couple weeks ago when the market took a dump. We had a beautiful trade on Nike, nice trade in Sarepta, nice trade in NNE, nice trade on Broadcom and ABGO, but not a lot of trades. Again, a very small number of trades this month, but it's done on purpose. I mean, you can go into a lot of rooms that are trading like crazy right now. It's suicide. Gary, would I say most of my profit is some SPY super system trades or room alerts? Well, it's very difficult to try to compare those two because the SPY super system trades are very quick, so there's a lot more trades. Now, I make more money on the SPY super system trades, but that's because I take so many more. Like in December, I think in December in the room, I had about 16 trades, but on SPY super system trades, I had about 60. There was good super system trades in December and November. Right now, there hasn't been very many at all. Um, but it's really not a fair comparison because you look at how much money you put into the trades and how many trades you've taken. And you know the SPY super system is basically a kind of a scalping system. I mean you're trading off of very quick moves here, 5 minute candlesticks. You're in and out in usually 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6, 7 candles at the most. So when I do an alert, I'm trying to find something that's going to last most of the day, if not overnight or even out a couple of weeks. So, you know, obviously, if you're trading the alerts, you're not going to make as much money as you would be if you were trading the SPY super system. If you've got 4 times as many trades in the SPY super system and your win rate's about the same, but you're trading an awful lot more, and that's not for everybody. Believe me, not everybody wants to trade like that. I much prefer to do swing type trades, but I can't do it in this market right now. So again, the percentage wins is very close in the alert service and the SPY super system. The win rate is very close to the same thing over time. Coming up at 12 o'clock. And get lunch here in about 10 minutes or so. Starting to get a little hungry. Certainly not from the excitement in the market right now. MSTR still coming back down again. It's right back down to support, right on a pivot point as well. So cryptos have gotten weak all of a sudden after a strong start this morning. Apple just chopping around. Amazon chopping around. Crowd's been a good long. Crowd still looks pretty good. This USAR still looks good to me. This USAR is got some room. If it gets above this resistance level here, which is 1490, which is above right now, it's got quite a bit of space to the upside.
HX IPO now open. On SOC, see a little volume in the name, some May 22.5 call activity, a block, 2982 on the offer, expire May 16. That's on SOC. commentary out by Financial Times says JP Diamond urges U.S. to engage with China. On HX IPO now resumes halt.
Brian, have I tested strategies for neutral markets? Yeah, I've tried. I've done butterflies and things before. Um, and straddles and strangles sometimes work, but it depends on the implied volatility. Butterflies can work if you can identify where a stock is going to close, but this market is really even though it's a neutral market, it's very news driven, and it flies all over the place. So knowing where the stock is going to end using a butterfly is very tricky. I mean, they're decent if you can pinpoint it, but it's pretty hard. If you went even on 0 DTE butterflies on today's on the SPY, you could put it around here the VWAP and do your midpoint right there. But any kind of news is going to destroy it. So even though it's a neutral market, we're not going anywhere. I'm not going to try to figure out where the market's going to end up today or at the end of the week. And even on stocks, it's really hard to tell right now. And we say the market is neutral; it hasn't really gone anywhere. But if you look at where the market's where it's gone to get to be nowhere, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at the market hasn't. See, here's where we were back here, back on the third right here. This is where we still are. But look where we've been in this roller coaster ride. This is brutal conditions to try to trade in. Plus, the implied volatility gets skyrocketed up here because of all these moves, which made the options really expensive. One of the things that some people took advantage of during this was the implied volatility being high is sell some puts on stocks that they wanted to own. But again, you got to be prepared to take ownership of the stock. You can sell premium, and if the stock doesn't go down to that level, then you keep the premium. But you have to be prepared to take that stock as ownership, and you also have to have enough margin to cover a portion of the cost of that stock. But that was a good strategy when the implied volatility gets that high, because selling options, of course, is the best thing to do when they're high like that. But you've got to be able to protect your risk here. Oh, Hamid, what's the source of my news? Yeah, that's called the Trade Exchange. The Trade Exchange. That's the news feed I use. I've been using it for years. I got that actually right when they just started the service quite a few years ago, and I find it very useful. I don't trade off of everything you can't trade off of everything there, but there are some things I trade off of that comes through there, and it's just good to know. To help you gauge the market a little bit or any particular stocks. But it's called the Trade Exchange.
some commentary being mentioned by Carl Q, CNBC, commenting on some comments out by Woolsby. It says there's a fundamental fear that we might be on the edge of going back to conditions like 2021 or 2022, where inflation is raging out of control and costs are on everyone's mind.
There's a link to the ebook that was on the highest probability on most common errors retail traders make. It's there in the chat box in the in YouTube. Again, you can if you're interested in the service, the room or the alert service, you can go to brightlinetrading.com and sign up there. And you can also buy the software. This is a SPY Super System software here that identifies when institutions are in the trades and when they're not. It does a very good job of doing that. And with that taken into consideration price action, they can try SPY Super System trades, which trades indexes. But again, today with this kind of chop, not a day for doing that.
On NBY, see the form for insider purchase. 10% owner purchasing 84,487 at spot 657. That's on NBY for a total of $55,000.
I'm going to get something to eat. I haven't made many trades, that's for sure. We got a question, Oliver. Is there a log of all official swing trades somewhere in the members area? Keen to use past trades to guide my sizing going forward. I've been doing everything simple, fixed risk at $500 max loss, but I know. Let me see. I don't usually take trades to the full zero loss. Sometimes I do, but I don't want to, of course. But I usually try not to do that. Swings and earnings calendars. Yeah, I don't think that there's nothing in the members area to that. I put, I have a record of all that stuff, and I put out when I do webinars, I have all the monthly stuff. I'd have to do some work to break it down by alert trades, swing trades, and like time spreads and things like that, because there's so many of them over the years. So I don't really, you can be assumed that the win rate stays between about 82 and 88, 89%, sometimes 90%. But the profitability is going to vary tremendously depending on what the market's doing. Trending market, much easier. Right now, we're not hardly taking any trades, so there really isn't too much. To even talk about at the moment. But some months we have quite a few trades. Sometimes we don't have as many, and it just depends. It just really depends on the market. But I don't really have any numbers to put on that. I have the monthly profits and everything that based on $2,000 a trade, and then the SPY Super System trades, which are based on my trades. I can't really put a SPY Super System profitability on the room because I don't really post them. I let people know when they're there, and I teach the strategy, but everybody has to kind of do their own thing on that one. But the SPY method, the room and the alerts have been doing fine, but not as big as last year. But no losing months yet since last September. So we had one losing month last September. Yeah, 20 to 30% upside targets is pretty good. I think that's, we usually do between 20 and 40, 45%. You get your outliers every now and then you have some losses. Typically a tolerance of 40 to 50% down, as long as the win rate is 75 to 80, which it should stay there. Yeah, well, listen, if you get news, if you're in option trades, you always have the risk of news coming and blasting the stock down, and you have time decay against you at that point. So you can't stay in the stock, you can't stay in the option to try to regain it because you run out of time. So yeah, when you get those kind of situations, you get big losses. That's inherent with options when you're taking any kind of overnight risk on options. But if you own the stock, you've also got some fairly large overnight risk as well, because at least with the stock you have a defined risk of how much you can lose, what you put into it. If you buy in stock and the stock tanks on you overnight on news, you really don't have a defined risk. It just depends on how far down the stock goes. All right, going to take some lunch. I'll go ahead and close down the YouTube feed. Thanks very much for everybody over on YouTube today watching the room. Come on, join us and join the alert service. And this is what we do every day. All we can try to do is try to take what the market gives us. Market's not giving us much of anything right now, so although it doesn't sound like you're getting any worthwhile value if you're not taking any trades, the fact is you are getting worthwhile value if you're not taking trades when you shouldn't be. And I that is something that is I think a lot of traders miss. All right, I'll shut that down, and I'm going to get some lunch. Thanks very much. See you everybody on tomorrow, Wednesday.